All right. All right. All right. We are now live. Let's do this. Welcome back. Welcome back all for some more Higurashi When They Cry. I'm going to get it off the back of my head eventually. It's Tatarigoroshi. Tatarigoroshi. There we go. We learned what it was last time, though. We did learn what it was, which I completely forgot. I actually forgot what it was. Tatarigoroshi. It's like killing ritual or something like that. Or something like that. I actually forgot what it was. But anyway, we are back, though. Quite a lot happened last time. It was a really good chapter last time. We learned a lot, specifically with how Rena feels about the whole Satoshi thing. We're kind of getting little by little what everyone like feels about Satoshi. Like, how do people process Satoshi? You know, you got characters like Shion and Rena who are very adverse to people just calling him transferring. Like they really don't like that. They feel very strongly about the fact that he was in some ways involved with the Yoyashiro curse. Then you got characters like Rika, who just straight up told us that he ran away. Like he ran away. Rika was the first one who told us that. Who else said that? Who else said they ran away? The guy, the creepy old guy coach, he said he transferred. Mion didn't actually tell us how she felt about, like, transferred. What did she say? Did she say he ran away as well? I don't remember. She must have said something like that, but she definitely did not confirm that he like got demoned away, with the curse. So yeah, this is really interesting, and we actually don't really know how Satoko feels entirely. They kind of talked about it a little bit, but they were like, maybe it's inappropriate for us to talk about this, so they kind of dropped it. So very, very curious to see some more.
Ohayo, Keiichi.
Yeah, and we're going to school today. It's going to be very awkward because we left Rena off with her being very upset. Like, she was really, really upset the last time we talked to her. And we're kind of like slightly unsure about how she's going to feel, how she's going to react. So Keiichi is a little nervous about going to school right now because of that.
あら、ゆうべは何時に寝たの?
I did not sleep well last night at all. My mother could tell from a single glance. I had the worst dreams. Nightmares, very ominous dreams, one after another, again and again. I woke up after each one, but could never even remember a fraction of what they had been about. But it was like those dreams were predicting something unpleasant, and I woke up in a terrible mood. Hey now. Every day has been calm and fun before today, right? Those days should continue on, unchanging. And yet, anxiety was the only emotion growing within me. Why was that? Nightmares reflects your own anxiety. They show an uneasy mind that which you wouldn't admit to normally. Yesterday, I remember the ominous conversation about Satoshi I had with Shion, Mion, and Rena. Right. My mind felt like it was about to, like it was in a black fog, because we had talked about that. If I lived every day without causing a fuss, my reward would be ever more peaceful days. So this is sort of like a theme, kind of, that's been going on lately. It's like, just ignore everything. Just live in blissful ignorance. Do not question anything. Lest you interrupt like your peaceful, like comfortable like routine, essentially. I understood that. So why did I cause such discord? But now that I thought about it calmly, a simple verbal slip on my part couldn't possibly change the world. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's not like he was prying. He was curious. It's just a simple question. You shouldn't, like, this sort of thing should not cause you to, like, completely destroy a relationship, but just asking a question like that. But, like, everyone is treating it like it's the end of the world. Like, that just, like, I almost said Satoshi, that, Keiichi asked these sort of things. So, yeah, I in a lot of ways, I do understand how Satoshi, like, I keep saying Satoshi, how Keiichi feels about, like, this whole, like, you know, being being unable to even ask questions, essentially. Like, it's very hard for him to ask questions because everyone just seems so antagonistic the moment he does. And again, it was kind of like a verbal slippage. He just asked a simple question. Yeah. As long as I'm sorry for doing it, I never talk about it again. There's nothing that anyone can blame me for, right? Besides, how would my fate possibly change just because I talked about that? Nothing was going to change. Yeah, nothing would change. Nothing would change. Nothing would change.
気持ち悪い笑い。寝ぼけてるなら顔を洗ってらっしゃい。
I finally cheered up enough to smile, and Mom slapped me on my back slapped me right back down. Now I was irritated again. There wasn't much time left before I had to meet up with Rena. I frantically started to get ready to go to school.
行ってらっしゃい。車に気をつけるのよ。
気をつけるほど車もいないよ。南沢には。
There's barely enough cars, yeah. Maybe in the city, that's a genuine concern. Oh, no, Keiichi did almost get hit by a car in like another part, so you know what? Maybe that makes sense. I dashed out the front door. The morning air was far more refreshing than the water on my face. That's right, Keiichi Maibara. If you're sorry enough about it and reflect upon your mistakes, that's enough. Now, let's put yourself together and get to school. And return to fun, enjoyable days, where everyone laughs, plays, and just has a good time. I'll be nice to Satoko as an apology too. Yeah. Wasn't I supposed to be her nini until Satoshi got back?
Ohayo, Keiichi-kun.
Rena too. Looked like nothing she had yesterday when she said that weird stuff. If I could only forget, then I could still act like nothing had happened. So I called out to her with all the energy I could muster.
Oh, Ohayo, Rena. 相変わらず早いな。おはよう。
おはようございます。
There was little time before the same old morning homeroom began, but Satoko and Rika-chan were unusually absent. Maybe they went to play somewhere? However, looking over and seeing none of their things, so it looked like they really hadn't come to school.
あれれ、あの二人が遅刻なんて珍しいね。
Rena seemed to be enjoying herself, thinking about what their excuse for being late would be. Mion said something nonsensical as well, imagining how funny the reason they were late must have been. I only came to school to see their energetic faces, since I figured it would get rid of these feelings I have. But the load on my chest remained where it was. It wasn't very pleasant at all.
おはようございます。皆さん、委員長、号令。
President, if you would.
起立。
Our teacher finally arrived. Then finally, I heard a pitter-patter of footsteps running down the hall. Whoa. Whoa, I'm not gonna lie. That kind of creeped me out a little bit. That actually kind of scared me. Like, I don't know what it is. I think just seeing Rika-chan, like the first thing of Rika-chan you see is her like this. And that sudden door slamming, like just that jump cut, essentially, because it felt like a jump cut. That actually kind of freaked me out a little bit. Clatter. Rika-chan was the first to run through the open door. And then Satoko. Didn't come?
遅刻ですよ、古出さん。北条さんはどうしましたか？
It was unusual for Rika-chan to be late, but equally unusual for Satoko and a ball of energy to be absent at all. Everyone's eyes were wide at the series of strange events.
さとこはちょっと遅れるかもしれないのです。
熱でも出ちゃいましたか？
The teacher walked over to Rika-chan and then started talking in a hushed tone.
リカちゃんが遅刻でサトコが欠席なんて珍しいこともあるもんだよ。
Ooh, I can feel the like, isn't this quirky? You know, like trying to make levity of this, but I feel like something bad actually really did happen.
そうだね。だけど、さとこちゃんどうしたんだろう。風邪かな。
Why now? Why now? When I most wanted to see Satoko's energetic face. The unease that had been building since last night tightened within my chest.
ケイちゃんは心配しすぎ。年頃の女の子にはね、どうしても体の都合で具合が悪くなっちゃう時があるの。
Wouldn't it be coo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo?
みーちゃん、それ男の子の前で言うことじゃないよ。
Oh my god. It's fine. Well, okay, maybe Keiichi might be mature about it, but okay. Mion laughed indecently. Normally I would laugh along with her, but right now I just didn't feel like it. Homeroom ended, and we walked and we went to talk to Rika-chan in the short time we had before first period
よう
started.
リカちゃん、遅刻して怒られてかわいそうだな。今日は俺がなでなでしてあげよ
I was very aware of my gloom this morning, so I strove to keep up my tone cheerful. I patted Rika-chan's head the same way she always did, but she didn't cheer up at all.
み
Meep?
う。さとこはどうしたんだ？
What happened to
風邪
Satoko?
か？
For instance, she got a fever from playing around too much yesterday. If that had been her response, I would have accepted it in a flash. Like, yeah, she.
うん、
But the atmosphere around Rika-chan felt somehow heavy. It was a little weird and actually made my unease worse.
ほらほらほら、男の子には話せない事情ってのもあるんだから。ケイちゃんはお席へ戻って。
Okay. Yeah, I get where Keiichi's coming from. Mion, acting just like the cloud president, pulled me back to my chair. Rika-chan's gazing immediately fell back to her desk, and she hung her head gloomily, I think. Rika-chan had said something odd. The Satsuko might be a little bit late. They were living together, weren't they? Then she would know for sure. She wouldn't have said might. I didn't understand why she was absent, and that made me all the more anxious. Damn it, what's going on today? It's like we started off on the wrong foot, and it wasn't going to get any better.
どうしたのかな、ケイチくん。今日はなんだか朝から元気ないよ。
Renan noticed how I looked and whispered to me while the teacher wasn't looking.
そんなに俺元気ないか？
うん。見てるレナまで元気がなくなるくらいに。
Whoa, damn. I thought of jokingly saying, then don't look at me, but I didn't feel like doing that.
レナに話せること？どんな悩みかわから
I
ない
don't
け
know,
ど
that's a good idea.
聞いて力になれることなら聞くよ。
I won't tease you. Renan said, looking me straight in the eye.
昨日まで何も変なことなんか起きなくて楽しかったんだ。
Huh? Rena's eyes widened for a moment, not understanding what I meant, but she remained silent and
穏
listened.
やかで楽しくて毎日が賑やかで、そんな毎日が繰り返されることに何の不安もなかった。
うん。そうだね。毎日楽しいよ。きっと今日も楽しくなる。
絶対にそうなるって自信が持てるか？
You're not gonna go crazy, are you?
うん。
Rena, feeling perplexed, couldn't think of something to say. I don't blame her. What was I trying to say? Seemed a little confusing, even to me.
思えばここ最近不安だったんだ。毎日が楽しいからこそある日ふっと 電球が切れるみたいに突然真っ暗になってしまうんじゃないかって。
Yeah.
その気持ち、ちょっぴりレナもわかるよ。
Rena nodded gently.
私たちはいいことばかりは続かないってずっと教えられてきたから、楽しいことの裏側を時々恐れるよね。それってちょっぴり悲しいことだけど、でもそのおかげで私たちは楽しい毎日がずっと続くように努力することを覚えたんだよ。
そうだな。
だから圭一くんが楽しい日々がいつまでも続かないかもしれないって思う。例えば明日突然火山が大爆発して私たちが全員死んじゃうとする。
Okay.
おいおい、物騒な話だな。
例えばその大災害を圭一くんだけが生き残ったとしたらどう感じる？
He turned into Emi Oshiro.
どうって。
I imagined myself being the sole survivor in a ruined Hinamizawa. Rumble and the bodies of friends lying in the heaps at my feet. It was such an abhorrent sight. Was it sadder that all my friends had died? Or was it sadder that I couldn't have died with them? I don't know which, but probably cry a lot.
胸が張り裂けるだろうな。まず泣くと思う。
そしてこう思うんじゃないかな。こうなることが運命だったなら、昨日までの日をもっともっと楽しく悔いなく過ごせばよかったって。
Yeah, YOLO, Keiichi, just YOLO it. I didn't want to consider such a horrible event to be my destiny, but
思うだろうな。
楽しい毎日がいつか終わるものなら、それがいつかなんて誰にもわからない。だったらたとえ明日そうなっても悔いがないように精一杯楽しく生きるのが正解。
そうだな。
それに気づくのはとても難しいこと。多くの人たちは日々の幸せに飽食してるよ。今日と同じ明日が訪れると信じきってるから、今日できることを明日に送る。今日してやれる優しさを明日に送ってしまう。
Rena was unusually cheerful and silly, but right now she wasn't like that at all. She was taking my troubles seriously. It was a little reassuring.
圭一くんはそれに気づけた。それはとても素敵なことだと思う。だからその不安な気持ち、大切にしてもいいと思うの。
この不安を大切に？
そう。明日には大災害でみんな死んじゃうかもしれない。だから今日、みんなにいっぱい優しくしよう。本当に週末が訪れた時、後悔しないために。
レナは実践してるのか？明日みんなが死んじゃっても後悔しないようにさ。
It was such a hyperbolic conversation, but Rena just gave me a nonchalant nod of her head.
レナは楽しい毎日がたった一日を境に終わってしまうことを知ってるから、今日が楽しくても明日も楽しい保証なんかないって生きてるよ。精一杯。
It seems like Rena perfectly understood all the anxiety I could put into words. And on top of that, like a relatable teacher, she showed me what to do. Oh. Hey Keiichi, my Bara. There's no need to cry now.
さとこの夢を見た気がするんだ。どんな夢だったかは思い出せないけど、朝からずっと不安で。
さとこちゃんの元気な顔を見れたら安心するつもりだったかな。
She was right on the money. If everyone had been here with a smile on their face this morning, then the murk in my heart would have definitely been blown to smithereens.
じゃあさとこちゃんが来たら優しくしてあげることだね。いつもの悪ふざけでも一向に構わない。 楽しく過ごすことができるなら。
そうだな。
Yeah, you're right. So that even if these days came to an end, I'd have no regret. I couldn't tell if what Rena told me had been comforting or just made me more anxious, but it was enough to make me think that if I saw Satoko again, I'd be honest with her. Very interesting. That was a good little moment right there. I really like that part right there. Lunchtime arrived with everyone pushing their desks together like always. I also really like that music. That little slow music piece right there. That is one of my favorite pieces of music in this game. It's such a nice soundtrack. Satoko wasn't here. Despite that, we had bento boxes for 5 lined up on our desk. Rika-chan had made a bento for Satoko too.
さとこ、お昼までには来るはずだったの？
Rika-chan was clearly acting strangely. We were talking to her, but it felt like she was too far away to hear us. I'd never seen Rika-chan so downcast. So the rest of us started feeling down too. Hey Rena, I understood what she had said before pretty well. When we were together, we were supposed to have lots of fun so we wouldn't have any regrets if the world ended tomorrow. And yet, while I just resolved myself to do it, now we can't all be together. What the hell? Because it was all just so sudden, wasn't it? I mean, yesterday was so fun. So who would believe it would all end today? No volcanoes had erupted, and no earthquakes or fires had happened either. The cicadas were making the same noise they did yesterday, and the sun remained bright in the sky. It was the same normal day as always. So then why? As I pondered, Rena's chopsticks reached in front of my face and stole the fried chicken out of my bento.
みんなが取らないからレナがもらうね。おいしい。
Rena tossed the entire piece into her mouth and began munching on it, her expression one of bliss.
と、おじさんとしたことがレナに先生を許すとはね。よっしゃ、おじさんはこのプチハンバーグをもらうよ。
みえ、僕のおかずがなくなってしまうのです。
Rika-chan, also behind the curve, smiled again and went for someone else's bento. As I sat there dazed at how quickly everyone had changed, Rena sent a wink over to me. Come on, Keiichi-kun. Live life to the fullest. That's why if the volcano erupts tomorrow, it'll be okay.
冗談じゃねえ。最後の弁当が梅干しとご飯だけになってたまるか。それ、俺はミートボールをいただくぞ。
I stuffed the meat into my mouth and constructed a clumsy smile. Yeah, that's all. When you're down, just stuff some meat in your mouth, bro. I played along as if trying to fool myself, but as I did, I rapidly became less and less. It rapidly became less and less of an act. Satoko still wasn't here, but at some point we had regained our lively lunchtime. We had fun. We smiled. And we fooled around. Thanks, everyone. This was definitely the best thing to do. This way, when Satoko suddenly dropped by, we could welcome her with our best smiles. Sorry, I didn't mute it when I was doing that. With their best smiles. The more I smiled, the more I felt the anxiety from this morning clearing away. Oh, whoops.
笑う角に福来たるってことわざあったよな。
あるね。それが事実なら、おじさんは四六時中笑い転げてるよ。
レナは本当だと思うな。毎日笑ってれば毎日が楽しいよ。レナがいいことを言いますです。
じゃあ試してみるか。
Everyone took a deep breath, then brought their faces together, locking shoulders. And then... What the fuck? Everyone laughed uproariously from their stomachs, trying to laugh out all the bad stuff accumulating in them. By the time our bento boxes were empty, everyone was right as rain. Ooh. This is kind of like, I don't know why, this looks kind of ominous, just like this picture of all them laughing, and that's the end of the chapter, just like the letterboxing closing. Having heard our friendly banter, Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun walked up and timidly spoke to us.
前原さん、楽しくお話し中、申し訳ないんですけど。
Yo, what do you want, you
ちょっと
twerps?
お力をお借りしたくて。
They grinned dryly and stretched their heads.
なんだよ一体。テストの対策法は以前教えただろ
Yeah, what? How would you even know how to do that? Like, you couldn't do that back then.
ちなみに、千恵先生が授業中、ふんと含み笑いを教科書で隠した時が次のテスト範囲だ。
What?
そうなんですか?
Was that just like a common like thing that guys talked about back then? Well, at least in Japan, obviously not in like the States, but like just how to get rid of the censor bars? That's not what they were here for, said Tomita-kun, elbowing Okamura-kun.
ボールが2階の雨どいに引っかかっちゃったんですよ。前原さんなら身長高いからなんとかなる。
ほう、先輩に物を頼むからには何か見返りがあるんだろうな。俺は高いぜ。簡単に買収できると思うなよ。
Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun conversed for a short time, then gave their reply.
では、前原さんには授業中に居眠りができる権利を与えましょう。
How the hell are you gonna give me that right?
それでどうです？
なんだそりゃ。
Yeah, what do you
授
mean?
業中に寝るのは俺の勝手だろ。なんでお前らに権利をもらわなくちゃならんのだ。
そんなことないですよ。
No, you can't.
今度は前原さんが居眠りしたら全部先生に言いつけることにしますから。
なるほど、うまいうまい。
こいつら。
Yeah, that's fucked up. That's fucked up.
すみません。ちょっとした冗談っす。ほらほら、ゲイちゃん、おとなしく後輩たちの脅迫に屈したら。
Girl, quit laughing like that. And now Mia was getting on my nerves. Suddenly it came to me, and I took Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun's hand.
俺の降参だ。
I surrender. Hold it right there.
俺にくれ。見ろミオン。俺はちゃんと権利を。でもお前はもらってないよな。富田君、岡村君、ミオンが居眠りしたらすぐにチクれ。いいな。
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty funny. Rena and Rika-chan began to cackle at the Keiichi-kun's victory. I don't know how the ball managed to get stuck up there, but it wasn't planted firmly in the school building's second floor gutter.
俺なら多分届く。よいしょっと。
I took a bamboo pole and poked the ball with it. Damn, it's hard. Come on, come on.
取れた。取れましたよ、前原さん。どうもありがとうございました。
The ball rolled down the gutter and fell down behind the school building. My upperclassmen ran over in that direction, leaving me by myself. Mission complete, I guess. Sheesh. There was still a lot of time until lunch break was over. Guess I should go back to the classroom. I'll absorb myself in a silly conversation with everyone and wait for the afternoon classes. Just when I thought that and turned towards the entrance, someone suddenly called out to me. I fucking knew it. I was like, yo, this seems like a good Oishi time to show up. What do you want, old man?
お昼休み中すみませんね。
Well, if you're sorry, you'd leave so I can go eat my food. It was the middle-aged man. I didn't know. Of course not. Or maybe I passed by him a few times and I'd seen his face, but I didn't know him. When his health, whoa, why are we using this music? When his half-smile deepened, something within me shuddered with fear. There was no basis for that. No reason, but I shuddered. I was somewhat confused about those emotions, not quite understanding them myself. There was one thing I could say though. Nobody but teachers and students should be at the school. This person shouldn't have been here. Yeah, he doesn't even know you're like a policeman or whatever, so you're being kind of creepy, brother. It felt less of a tremble and more of a sense of dread, like a caterpillar brilliantly coloring its garish, bilious greens were crawling across my forehead. Oh my god, what a description! Like a caterpillar, brilliantly colored in garish, bilious greens were crawling across my forehead. Holy purple prose, Batman. I feel a feeling of disgust that neither itchy nor gross could describe as the frizzy, dreadful hair rubbed against my brow. I didn't even want to see his face. I wanted to jump backwards and run away. An unpleasant feeling for which I didn't even know the cause. The other side of myself had nothing but questions. Hey, what are you doing? What are you disgusted by? What are you disgusted by? This is the first time we've met him. It's rude to hate someone for no reason. No answer were coming. I held my silence, waiting, a damp sweat running down my forehead. When he saw that Oishi-san thought maybe he was being intimidating and gave me a relaxed smile.
失礼しました。
The games are really painting Oishi as just like entirely sinister in some manner. Because the first game he really wasn't. I don't think he came across as like sinister. He definitely felt like he had ulterior motives, like, and he didn't quite care about Keiichi, like whether he lived or died. He just really wanted to get to the bottom of what was happening in Hinamizawa. But overall he didn't seem quite like sinister. Whereas in this part and part 2, he really did just seem like a fucking asshole, like pretty much the entire time. So I don't know. I don't know if the intention of this character shifted in like what's his name, Ryukishi's like process, like whether or not he intended him to be like a fairly well-meaning police officer in the first game, and then like as he was writing the other two parts, he was like, no, I kind of want to take him in this direction instead.
怪しいもんじゃないんですよ。私、沖宮警察署から参りました。あれ、手帳どこかな。あれ参ったな。ありゃ
What? He fished through various pockets and found his police ID and showed it to me, grinning dryly. He may have been trying to use those clumsy seeming actions to ease my anxiety, but I could definitely say it didn't work. Why was I this nervous? There was a reason, of course. If I wanted today to be the same as before, then today didn't need someone who hadn't been here back then. The fact that a man who wasn't here yesterday showed up today meant that today would be a different day than those before it. That would mark the end of the fun and happy days. I gulped and erased the ominous conclusion from my mind. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. It's just an old guy who looks kind of perverted. He came from the police department. Don't go deciding that the fun times are over. He just came here because of his job. Yeah, just for his job. If he worked, then he would normally go to the teacher's lounge, right? The fact that he spoke to me, yes, it must have been to ask
職
somewhere
員室をお
something
探しで
is.
すか？なら、あそこの昇降口から入って。
I didn't want to look at this man for another second, so I started pushing things along. Oishi-san, however, didn't seem to have any interest in the teacher's lounge.
ああ、いえいえ。職員室にはそんなに用事はないんです。それより、お友達を呼んでもらいたいんですが、お願いできますかね？
Huh. Call a friend of
お
yours.
友達？誰です？
女の子です。北条聡子さんを呼んできてもらえませんか？
Oh my god, this is gonna like completely ruin Keiichi. My consciousness grew faint. Like I was about to pass out. Yes, my anxiety was realized. The dreadful, disgusting caterpillar was looking at me, about to crawl into my ear. Its frizzly, dreadful hair was touching my ear cavity. That's how bad it felt.
警察が、さとこに何の用ですか？
What y'all need with Satoko? Leave her alone!
いえいえいえ、大した用事じゃないんです。2、3聞きたいことがありまして。ご協力をいただければ嬉しいんですがね。
Why? Why of all people was it Satoko? Why would a police officer come here in the middle of the day for something that wasn't important? This was strange. I could smell it. It smelled bad. Just a whiff of it made me want to grimace. I knew that this man could possibly be here to deliver her lost wallet or something. I couldn't imagine what he needed from Satoko, but it had to be something unpleasant. My throat strung with a burning pain. Burned like a parched crevice wasteland. The wasteland broke apart deep in my throat and brought out the words from deep in my mind.
あんたに用はあっても、さとこにはないと思います。
That's funny.
帰ってくれませんか？
Could you please get the fuck out of here, asshole? Oh, she probably hadn't expected that reply. Yeah, like holy, you basically told him to go fuck himself. Oh god. He stood there, surprised for a few moments. We're definitely not coming off on a great foot this time with talking to Oishi-san. I did as well. I hadn't thought words like that could ever come from my mouth. Things still might work out. This guy may have shown up out of the blue, but if I drove him off, maybe I could have made it so that it never happened. If I could do that, then I could get back. Oh, fuck!
これは手厳しいな。
If I could do that, then I could get back. The peace we had until yesterday, I could get it back.
あなた、さとこさんのマネージャーさんですかな？アポイントメントがないと面会は叶いませんか？
話がしたいだけなら電話ですればいいじゃないですか。日中学校にまで押しかけてくるなんて明らかに異常です。
Breaking through a dam would have been a perfect analogy to use. Why didn't I like this man? This man shouldn't have been here. I needed to make it so that this man wasn't here. Childish, selfish emotion bubbled up from the depths of my mind, and they each came out of my mouth just as it had been formed. Not liking this guy was my own problem. But to say things so bluntly to him, even though I thought I was crazy.
ありゃ、いちいち正論な方ですね。 ういう言い方をする人は苦手なんだよな。
Higurashi grinned and stretched out his sweaty throat. Even as he feigned stupidity, I could tell he was irritated. Hey Keiichi Maibara, why am I looking for a fight with an old policeman here? It's not like that. He brought a gift of misfortune with him and wrapped it up in a paper, right? Right? It wasn't like he brought a package of misfortune with him and was asking me to sign here, please. Rationally speaking, I understood all that. So then why was I so... Finally, I outlasted Orochi-san in our game of silence and he gave me a big sigh. Then he addressed a few of my female upperclassmen running around nearby.
もしもし、君たち、ちょっといいですかな。北条聡子さんを呼んできてほしいんですがね。
My upperclassmen tried to smile and reply, but they noticed the oddly stiff air atmosphere around me and seemed hesitant to give a quick answer.
いませんか、北条聡子さんは。
北条さんは今日はお休みですけど。
休み。
His face remained smiling, but his tone was clearly one of ill humor. Such conspicuous spite caused by my upperclassmen who had answered honestly to cringe in fear.
そうです。いやはやいやはや。これはついてないです。
He was smiling broadly, but the way he laughed didn't make me feel any better at all. When he noticed that his laughter wasn't getting anyone else to laugh with him, he immediately stopped.
で、君たち、ここにいるお兄さんは、
Oh my god. He grabbed the girl by the shoulder so that they wouldn't run away and crouched down to address them at eye level. The girls flinched away from the sharp, piercing light in his eyes, and in exchange for their release, they didn't resist and told him my name.
ほう、前原圭一さんですか。
He said my full name. That was all he said, and yet I couldn't help but shudder. It was like he was grabbing me by the collar just with those words.
あなた、ひょっとして例の前原屋敷の御曹司。
What? Is my dad famous? I thought he was a shitty artist.
お父さん、高名な芸術家さんなんですってね。年に2回ほど東京の大展覧会に出展されてるそうじゃないですか。
Oh, damn, really? I'll be honest, I thought my dad was like a commercial artist. Like he draws like, I don't know, like just like ads and stuff, or maybe he sells some stuff, but it's like very snobby stuff.
どんな立派な絵を描かれるかは存じませんがね。お母さんも知的そう
Literally
な方じゃないですか。
no one knows what my dad paints.
高学歴って聞きましたよ。どこぞの女子大を出られてるそうじゃないですか。あの年の女性で女子大でなんてすごいですよ。ひょっとしてお母さん、両家のお嬢さんなんじゃないですか。なんて噂が立ってるせいか。冷たい人だなんて噂が立てられ、町内会の会合最初の1回以外は出てないでしょう。そういうのっていけないんですよね。
The fuck, man? Why is he talking about my parents so
こ
much?
ういう土地ではご近所付き合いをないがしろになんかできませんよ。
The fuck? I wonder if my parents are the cause of all this shit that happens. My parents seem so uninvolved with the story, like in all of them. I'm starting to wonder if maybe they're the problems. I'm just like, Mom, Dad, can you stop fucking everything up? Oh, a sense of eeriness slithered up my spine. That was my first experience of true terror. I couldn't believe it felt this terrible for someone you just met you to know everything about you already. Yeah, that is kind of fucked up. Oshi clapped onto my shoulders and brought his eyes closer to peer into mine.
こういう土地ではね、敵は作らない方が絶対にいいです。さもないと。
Ow, ow. Oshi dug into my shoulders with inhuman strength. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, buddy. Hold on, buddy. What the fuck is that?
思わぬところで不利益を受けるかもしれません。因果応報という言葉もありますよ。風が吹けば桶屋が儲かるの正反対です。妙なところで買った恨みが信じられないところで返ってくることがあるかもしれません。
Alright, sorry about that. I just had to call someone called me. But yeah, this is very like very, very like interesting. This is probably the most instantly antagonistic Oyoshi has ever been in any of these stories. Like it actually feels like very well, to be fair, Keiichi did immediately become very antagonistic.
そうなったら嫌でしょ。
There's a lot of metaphors to like insects and weather stuff.
誰だって恨みなんか買いたくないんです。敵を作らないに越したことなんかない。どうしました？肩がだいぶ凝ってますね。ちょっと揉んであげましょうか。
Brother, you're squeezing my shoulders.
ほら、気持ちいい。
Whoa, 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 whoa! Wait a minute, buddy. Ow, ow, ow! This man wasn't just strong. It was like he knew exactly where to press to make me feel pain. Only 4 or 5 fingers were on my shoulder, and yet the pain made me want to bend over backwards. Ah! A few girls from my class were pretty shaken up, but didn't seem to want to help. They weren't sure if they could go call the teacher. As for me, I couldn't take the time to wait until the teacher got here. It hurts.
もうそれくらいになさってください。痛がってますよ。
え？
Behind Oyoshi-san, someone... Yeah, no. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Oyoshi is kind of like... he's kind of in a bad place now for me. Like, I don't think I like him anymore. Like, I was kind of reserved. Maybe it was just sort of like... the game wanted you to feel... But he's actually just like hurting like a kid. Like, he's physically hurting a kid right now. And physically intimidating him. Like, that's not okay. You can't do that. You're a cop too. I mean, to be fair, he's a fucking cop. So maybe that's not surprising. But like, like, it's like, damn, man. Like, Keiichi's a fucking kid. Like, what are you doing? Behind Oyoshi-san, someone... Yeah, I don't trust this guy either. That's not to say I trust this fucking guy. To my disbelief, it was Coach.
Oh yeah.
I wonder what these guys' relationship is like, because again, Coach wasn't in any of the other parts.
ご無沙汰しておりますね。
Discomforted by Coach's sudden appearance, Oishi-san laughed scornfully. The vice on my shoulder, however, remained as strong as ever.
挨拶はいいです。それよりも、前原くんを離してあげてください。
Oishi smiled daringly and glared straight at Coach. He didn't release me in the meantime, of course.
先生のところにも後でお伺いしようと思っていたんですよ。
Oh wait, doctor. Yeah, he said doctor.
いつもお忙しいとかで、ろくろくお話ができません。
ええ。お望みとあれば、いくらでもお話を伺います。でもその前に、令状をお持ちになってください。
Whoa, a warrant first.
職務質問と任意同行は拒否できますからね。
Whoa, wait a minute. What kind of warrant? Corch didn't display a shred of weird behavior he'd shown at the baseball game and barbecue. Yeah, he's definitely a lot more locked in right now. He stared steadily at Aoshi-san and fought so that he would release me. His chants were terribly bad, of course. Compared to the relaxed Aoshi's, Coach seemed like he had been defeated mentally. It made sense. Coach had a somewhat narrow stature, but Aoshi-san's body was packed with muscle and fat. It wasn't even a contest. But Coach was fighting for me without taking a step back. Beads of sweat formed on his face, and though he paled, he was frightening for my sake. Suddenly, Aoshi-san laughed and let go of my shoulder. My body exhausted, I fell right onto my backside.
大丈夫ですか？
くそ。いってててて。
I rubbed my shoulder where Aoshi-san was latching onto them. The pain from falling over went away quickly, but this pain was lingering.
大丈夫ですか？前原くん。ひどいことを。
くそ。あいててて。
ちょっと肩を揉んだだけじゃないですか。
Yo, fuck you, old man. No, fuck you. Like, legitimately, that was not fucking cool, man. That was not okay. You should not do that. You shouldn't be touching kids like that, bro. Well, you shouldn't be touching kids in general, but you know what I mean. I was just giving him a little massage.
前原さんも少し大げさすぎですよ。男の子はもう少し我慢強く。
Oh, shut up. Shut up. I want to retort, but I couldn't think of anything witty.
肩は上がりますか？痛みますか？痛みが強いようなら、ちゃんと診察をした方がいい。とにかく、保健室へ。
Coach led me a shoulder and walked beside me.
大げさですね。私に限って傷が残るような真似をするわけがないじゃないね。私、これでも現職の警察官なんですよ。
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
さあ、どんなご用があったか存じませんが、もうご用がないならお帰りを。今日のことは、今度所長さんに直接抗議しますから、そのつもりで。
それは困りますね。
Oishi-san waved his hand sarcastically, pivoted around, and headed to the parked car by the school gate. And without turning back around, he got in and started the engine. Damn it. Who the hell was he? Damn
あい
it.
つは、大石クランドという刑
Kurudo.
事です。
Kurado. Is that how you say Kurado? Kurado Oyoshi-san. Dun. Hold on, let me just check the stream real quick. Oh shit. It says it's good. I don't know why it's saying suggestion. Okay. It still looks fine. It says in excellent condition. No, everything should be fine. Hold on. It's actually higher than what it says. Whatever. It's fine, it's fine.
乱暴者でね。
And a hooligan.
村中に嫌われている男です。前原さんも用心した方がいい。
Kurodo Oyoshi. Just like I thought, my gut instinct wasn't wrong. He would be the one to bring unhappiness, misfortune, something that would ruin our peace. Shit, I won't accept it. All these fun days can't possibly end just because some guy like him showed up. I won't accept it. Coach seemed to be familiar with the school, so he brought me to the nurse's office without much trouble. The girls from my class came along as well, looking worried. Our teacher and the principal having noticed the disturbance, came to see what was the matter.
前原くん、どうしたんですか？怪我でも。
前原さん、さっき校庭で変なおじさんに。
Coach gently interrupted the girls, trying to explain.
いえ、ちょっと転んでひねったみたいです。大丈夫だとは思いますけど、念のためと思いましてね。保健室をちょっとお借りいたします。
入江先生、よろしくお願いしますぞ。
The principal gave him a deep bow. It's like Coach was acquainted with the adults at the school. I slid open the door to the nurse's office, but there wasn't a nurse in there or anything. I'd figure. I'd never seen anyone but Chie-sensei and the principal working here. Coach didn't seem to mind the fact that there was no nurse and quickly made his way into the nurse's office. He instructed me to sit down and started washing his hands in the sink. Oh, I get it. He's the coach for the boys' team. He must be pretty used to treating wounds with the first aid.
ちょっと患部を見せてもらえますか？まだ痛みます。
いえ、もう全然痛みません。本当に大丈夫です。
I rolled up my shirt and showed him my shoulder. No bruises, not even a nail mark. And yet it hurt so much I thought my shoulder was going to be crushed. Even the pain had disappeared, without a trace. It hurt so much, but so much was bruised, but not so much as a bruise remained.
それだけあいつが慣れているということですよ。今度会った時は挑発しないことです。
Used to it, huh?
あいつを怒らせて得をすることは何もありませんからね。自宅に制服警官を連れて押しかけてきたら、ご家族だっていい気持ちはしないでしょ。
それは確かに。
しかし、何があったんです？前原さんがあいつと喧嘩になるなんて。
あいつ、里子に用事があるとか言ってきて。
え？里子ちゃんにですか？
Coach gaze lowered and his expression clouded a bit. Somehow the gesture seemed to be saying Oyoshi was bound to come to Satoko and did, and that it was no laughing matter. Coach fell silent in thought. Quietly, he looked at the compress. He took a compress out and the first aid kit, put it on me. Whoa.
あの男は まだ聡子ちゃんに付きまとうつもりなんでしょうか。本当に蛇みたいにしつこい男です。
Coach mumbled to
付き
himself.
まとう？
Cling?
大石っていうやつ、たびたび聡子のところへ来てるんですか？
Coach didn't answer, but the lack of denial served well enough. What on earth did the policeman, probably a detective or something, need from Satoko? What mistake had led a detective to cling to the sweetly smiled Satoko?
前原さんは、そうか、引っ越してきたばかりでしたね。
ええ、そうですけど。
お社様のたたりと聡子ちゃんの話は少しは聞いたことがありますか？
Whoa. Okay, whoa. He actually just brought the whole thing up. Well, I knew a few things about it, certainly.
聡子の両親がダム計画の賛成派で、転落事故で死んだのはタタリだって話ですか？
Coach smiled thinly and dryly. So you know, he said, dropping his gaze. If I recall correctly, there was an accident on the viewing platform at the public park. She'd gone to with her family. Her parents died. And then it was just big brother and little sister. And then she was with Rika-chan and,
ご両親が亡くなった聡子ちゃんとお兄さんの聡くんは、おじ夫婦宅に身を寄せることになりました。
そうなんですか？
oh, is that so? Yeah, I think I remember them mentioning that. I'm not sure. Their parents died in an accident. Satoshi ran away, leaving Satoko to start living with Rika-chan. I'd known that much, but this was the first time I heard that they've been brought to their uncle and aunt. From what I remember, I think they did mention that in like a different part.
おじというのは、聡子ちゃんのお父さんの弟にあたる方なんですよ
Satoko's
ね。
younger brother. Satoko's father's younger brother. Okay.
残念なことに、夫婦揃って、ちょっと尊敬に値する方々ではありませんでした。
Neither of the couple were people deserving of respect. Coach normally picked his words politely. So when it came out and said they didn't deserve respect, it really made me wonder what kind of people they
聡
were.
子ちゃんの両親がダムに賛成していたとばっちりで、おじ夫婦も村内ではとても肩身の狭い思いをしていましたからね。聡子ちゃんたちを歓迎するはずもなかったんです。聡子ちゃんたち兄弟にとってとても辛い生活だったと聞きを読んでいます。
Bit by bit, Coach told me about the numerous agonies the Hojo siblings had suffered at their uncle's house. As their guardians, their aunt and uncle sucked up everything belonging to their immediate family. Satoko and Satoshi were crammed into a small room, and their lives were laden with things that were miserable both for their bodies and minds. In the first place, since apparently their aunt and uncle weren't on good terms, there was no end to their fighting. And as if in revenge for that, whenever they saw Satoko or Satoshi's face, they would always find faults with them, scold them, yell at them, strike them, and take away meals as punishment.
今思い出してもゾッとします。今の元気な聡子ちゃんしか知らないあなたには、土毛色の顔をして、ただ日陰でぼーっとしているだけの彼女など、想像もつかないでしょう。
Whoa. I couldn't imagine it, and I didn't want to. That was how I honestly felt. But at the very least, Satoko wasn't like that anymore. She may have had a miserable life in the past, but it was different now. Something happened to change that life.
去年の綿流しのお祭りの夜にね、おばが死んでしまったんです。
Right.
異常者にバットか何かで殴り殺されて。
With a baseball bat. Oh shit, a baseball bat.
綿流しの祭りの夜には、村の旧敵がたたりで死ぬと噂されてましたからね。 この死も単なる殺人事件としてだけでなく、お社様のたたりではないかと村中でささやかれました。
A few days later, the deviant arrested for drug use confessed to further offenses and the incident was resolved. However, though it was resolved, no one knew whether the part about being Oyashiro-sama's curse was true or not.
おじだってひなみ沢の人間ですからね。お社様のたたりを大層怖がり、逃げ出して聞いた話では、沖宮あたりの実婚の中の女性宅に転がり込んでるとか。
それで解放されたんですか、里子たちは。
おばは死に、おじは逃げ、誰も兄弟をいじめる者はいなくなるはずだったんですが、まるでその後を継ぐように、あの男が執拗に現れるようになったんです。
あの男？
Then Coach lowered his voice a bit, as if being aware of his surroundings.
大石です。
大石、さっきの男。
The events that just occurred came back to me. I heard the hard to describe ominous sensation I'd felt from him came back to
あい
me.
つは少しおかしいんですよ。お社様のたたりをめぐる一連の事件はみんな解決しているのに、あいつだけがそれを認めていないんです。
Accept it. The incidents were all solved, and detectives supposedly with the police department didn't accept
あいつ
that.
が近づく人間には必ず何かよからぬことが起こると言われています。ひなみ沢ではね、大石のことをお社様の。
In Hinamizawa, they think Oyoshi is Oyashiro-sama's curse. Interesting. The door flew open with a rattle and Mion came in rushing. Rena and Rika-chan came running a few steps behind her, and then Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun a few more steps. Few more of our classes.
大石にやられたの？怪我を？
落ち着いてミオンさん。怪我はありませんよ。念のため尻尾をしているだけです。
ケイチ君、本当に大丈夫かなみんなに聞いたら首を絞め上げられてたとか言ってて。
落ち着けよ。
Oh, you being strangled. Damn, okay. Calm down, Rena.
肩をすげえ痛く握られただけだ。ほら、あざだってないだろ。
Meep.
たく、あんたら何やってんだよ。仲間だろ。なんでぼーっとしてたんだよ。なんでケイちゃんを助けなかったんだよ。
Whoa, she is mad. Holy shit, she is mad.
ごめんなさい、委員長。
Mion yelled at our classmates, bearing her fangs. Tomita-kun and the others hang their head in silence.
よせよ、ミオン。富田くんたちはその場にいなかったんだ。責めるのはよせ。
くしょー。大石のやつ。
Holy shit, she's really not hiding it. Mion kicked the floor with her heels a few times, her temper running hot. Our teacher overheard the commotion arriving as well.
こらこらこら。保健室で騒がしくしてはいけません。委員長、みんなを連れて保健室から出なさい。
ほらみんな、もう行こう。ケイチ君は大丈夫だって。ほら、みーちゃんも。
Mion was letting her emotions get the best of her, so Rena stepped in instead and led everyone out of the nurse's office. The detective from Okinomiya Station, Korudo Oyoshi, it looked like the first impression I've got from him hasn't been mistaken. Satoko's absence had amplified the vague apprehension I'd felt since yesterday, and Oyoshi-san's appearance basically sealed the deal.
さて、じゃあ私はこれでもともと千恵先生に用事があってきたんです。
あ、用事があって学校に来たんですよね。俺なんかのためにどうもすみませんでした。
Don't be so humble, he said, smiling easily.
おかげで役得と言いますか。前原くんのきめ細やかなお肌も存分に 堪能できましたよ。
Yo, brother.
はふー。
We can't trust this motherfucker. Yo, you can't trust this man. You can't trust this man. Because even if he is good intentioned, his brother, you can't be saying shit like that. Ugh. With the usual for Coach anyway, parting words, he instead continued.
では、失礼します。大した怪我ではありませんが、患部を揉んだりするようなことは、くれぐれも避けてください。もしも高熱が出たり、腫れたりするようなことがあったら、すぐに連絡してくださいね。そんなことはないと思いますが。
あ、そうだ、監督。さっき、みんなが来る直前、何か言ってましたよね。大石のことを、お社様のなんとかって。
As he was about to leave the nurse's office, Coach planted a hand on the door and stopped.
ああ、お社様の使いですよ。
Oyashiro-sama's servant.
もちろん悪口ですがね。
That's interesting.
That's interesting. So the people of Hinamizawa view Oyashiro-sama as like a threat then. Because if no one likes Oyoshi-san, then they all think that... So they do believe that Oyashiro-sama is a threat. He's not someone you worship kindly. He's someone like you worship in fear, basically.
前原さんは、ひなみ沢で毎年、綿流しの夜に起こる、ひなみ沢村連続開始事件。
連続開始？
Now that I thought about it, I didn't seem to remember overhearing Mion or someone in the class talk about it like a ghost story. On the festival night in June, one person would always die, and another person would be spirited away, but they seem to call it demoning away here. What a fine story that was. I figured they made it up to scare me, but it was true?
一体、どこの誰が言い出したのかもわからない話ですが、いつの頃からか、大石のことを、お社様の使いと呼ぶようになりました。
なぜですか？
あの男が、その年のたたりの犠牲者を決めている、と、噂されているからです。
Whoa, he decides? Whenever June came around, Oyoshi would start paying frequent visits to
亡くな
Hinamizawa.
ったり消えたりする人たちの多くが、あの男の必要な訪問を受けているからです。
4 years ago, it was known that the victims of the dismemberment rumored to have been sacrificed had been seeing Oyoshi's numerous times leading up to the incident. The sacrifices 3 years ago were Satoko's parents. Right before their accidental death, Oyoshi-san had apparently visited their home. The one who disappeared 2 years ago, Rika-chan's mother. And again, people knew that before she vanished, Oyoshi had been talking to her extremely frequently. The one who disappeared last year, Satoko's older brother, Satoshi. Satoshi too had apparently been approached by Oyoshi many times before he vanished. And then this time Oyoshi was trying to contact Satoko.
冗談じゃないです。
噂ですよ、前原さん。そういう噂がある。
I hadn't said that because of the rumors of Oyoshi being Oyashiro-sama's servant, or his contact someone foreshadowing who would be their sacrifice that year. It was because the ominous hatred I felt towards Oyoshi was becoming more sustained and more real.
さとこ、今日欠席したじゃないです。
え？そうなんですか。
It looks like news to Coach. I thought he might have known why Satoko was absent today, but...
では失礼します。前原くんも早くみんなのところに行って安心。
そうですね。そうします。
Clatter. Coach left the nurse's office and headed towards the teacher's lounge. Ooh. Is that the end of the chapter or is there more? Then that chapter would be kind of small. Short. Oh wow, that is the end of the chapter. Okay. Oyoshi's post memos, research notes. Let's see, view new tips. Okay, research notes, she's post memo. Let's check this one out. The Hojo family. Every year, Oyashiro-sama's curtain claims 2 victims. This means that for 4 years in a row, there has been 8 now. But it's worthwhile to note half of them have been members of this family. The curse on the 2nd year, a certain falling accident, involved the death of Hojo, a dam proponent, and the disappearance of his wife. She was pronounced dead the following year after being considered to have vanished under the perilous circumstances. The curse on the 4th year involved the death of the Hojo siblings' aunt, who was then their foster mother, and the disappearance of the elder brother. The Hojo family is a poor one, and it's hard to say Mr. Hojo's job went very well. Apparently, upon reemployment via family connections, there was a plan for them to return to the home of the mother's side of the family. For Mr. Hojo, the eviction due to the Hinamizawa Dam project and the payment of a large amount of compensation money was essentially a windfall. Mr. Hojo actively embraced the Ministry of Construction's negotiations from an early stage and was selected to represent the dam's proponent. It was rumored he had been brought out by the Ministry of Construction for doing this, but the truth is unknown. However, the dam proponents were in the vastly outnumbered minority. In addition, as the Sonozaki family strengthened their own foundation and promised support against the dam, all the proponents, save for Mr. Hojo, switched over to the anti-dam side. At this point, Hinamizawa was completely united against the dam, and Mr. Hojo was held up to ridicule as a stooge for the dam's project proponents. He was essentially used as a scapegoat for the anti-dam coalition. In the end, the dam project collapsed with Oyashiro-sama's curse and the dismemberment incident. However, punishment towards the bitter enemies supporting the dam project continued to this day. There are not many left today who support the dam project, nor who had a negative reputation at the time. If there were any candidates left for the curse, it's the husband of the housewife who had been beaten to death last year, Teppei Hojo, and Mr. Hojo's daughter, Satoko Hojo. Strangely, these two are the only candidates left. Will this year's curse come down to the 2 of them? There's more than enough value in observing them both. Okay. Oyoshi's post memo. To Oyoshi-san. There was a call for you from Section 4 Chief Segeharu. Apparently, the slaughtered corpse in the Ojikawa River is related to the S group as we thought. We're still verifying what happened behind the scenes, but apparently the deceased filed a dozen of self-created fictional blank accounts to their limits with money from the S group, reaching around 100 million yen. It appears there were 3 or 4 men with former S group connections involved in this. They've already disappeared along with millions of yen. The deceased was tortured on the point of misinformation, and she clearly slaughtered as an example to others. There are apparently some real wizards chasing down the people who disappeared. They're also spreading letters to related Zakuza groups not to harbor them. There's still no evidence that Teppei Hojo is one of those people. As for the Chief Segeharu, can tell he hasn't told anything. He was her pimp, but she didn't trust him at all, did she? Teppei Hojo has left the apartment in Okinomiya and has returned to his former residence in Hinamizawa. Oh shit. Whoa. Okay. And he was the uncle, right? He was the uncle who like abused Satoko and her brother. And he's back in town. Is that why Satoko didn't come back? Did he literally just go find Satoko? Okay.
守りたいと思う心に嘘はなかった。大切にしたいと思う心は誰よりも強いはずだった。優しさから生まれた感情はやがて殺意へと変わり、真っ白だった思いは赤と黒で染まってゆく。それが守りたかった日常の崩壊を意味していると分かっていながら。たたり殺し。何が間違っていたのか。その答えを探して、悲劇はさらに広がってゆく。
北条さんは今日もお休みですか？
Whoa, okay. That was crazy. Okay. I think I'm not gonna save here. I think the next time I start, I'm gonna start with that poem because that's a very interesting poem. So Tatarigoroshi. Okay, what was it again? Tatarigoroshi, curse killing. Yeah. The Japanese roughly translates to curse killing. Tatari, Goroshi means killing, right? Yeah, or like killing or murder, essentially. Koroshi. But it's Tatari. Okay, yeah. Okay. That's very interesting. Yeah, I'm not going to save here. I usually save. I usually save there, but that was very interesting. So that was Rika-chan talking about essentially, I wanted to protect you, which is, assuming it's Satoko. I wanted to protect you. I wanted to make sure you're okay. But all of that has led to me doing a lot of bad things, essentially. Like, I'm doing bad because I wanted to protect you, and I sort of don't even know where it all went wrong. Like, where I'm supposed to be protecting you, but at some point it all went wrong, and I don't know what happened. That's very interesting. That is very, very interesting. Ugh. Yeah, that was a good chapter. That was a very good chapter. These chapters have been really good. I've been really enjoying these. This part has been really good so far. Aside from the baseball part, which again, it's appropriate. You have to have the slice of life. That way you get the horror stuff later. But yeah, like, I don't know. That was a very good chapter. A lot to think about. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see where this goes. It always feels like it's a long wind up to the Watanagashi festival. But I feel like it's coming soon and we're gonna really see some fucked up shit. I'm scared. I'm scared. I really like Satoko. I really liked her a lot. Like I said, that scene where Rika walked into the classroom and there was like just a silence. Like it genuinely got me like worried. I'm like, what happened to Satoko? Like, is she okay? Please tell me she's okay. So yeah, I'm a little worried about that. But overall, that was a great part. Very good read. And yeah, thank you for watching, anyone, and I'll see you next time. I'm going to be streaming this probably on Monday, maybe. I don't know. I'll see. Anyway, thank you. Bye-bye. Let me use this one instead. There we go.